our wealthiest residents receive unanticipated federal tax benefits. Trump's tax plan benefited DC richest 1%. Those targeted by this amendment more than 10 times that is benefited the DC poorest fifth. This amendment will generate approximately 1.78 million in revenue, which we put to critical use of funding wraparound approaches to violence impacting youth, which is in addition to what we already have, which is still, in my opinion, a drop in the bucket when it comes to the budget of 16.7 billion, up to about 12 million I've counted in violence prevention, and I think a little bit was added to some of these amendments. The approach combined violence interruption, mentoring, mental health outreach, both in schools and in the community. This amendment distributes $650,000 in funding to violence interruption, $550,000 to school-based mental health, $300,000 to school-based mental health response, and $284,000 for mentoring grants to serve at-risk middle school youth. Recent polling by the DC Fiscal Policy Institute found that 83% of residents supporting taxes on the wealthiest to protect services, and that nearly 4 out of 5 support taxes on the wealthiest support goes to Black and brown residents in DC. Given the challenges the city faces and the wider support for more progressive taxes, we believe that a highly targeted and progressive increase in state tax, which is used to fund essential services for the neediest, will be welcome. The choice is clear. We speak a lot about equity, fairness, justice in our city, particularly on this council since I've been here. This measure takes a small cut to the DC most wealthiest residents, directly impact and mitigate violence for the brown and Black communities in this budget. And I have to note that there has been some effort. When I got in office, it was $0. Now up to 12 million, up to 14, between 12 and 14 million. But just a few days ago, I had to go to the Children's Hospital and hear the scream of a mother, Miss Crystal McNeil, whose son was a victim of gun violence at 11 years old. She had to see her son shot in the head. 3 weeks ago, she took a group from her neighborhood, which is Cedar Gardens, out of town to do healing circles, violence interruption, relationship building, and mediations. And while coming back 3 weeks later, her son is a victim of gun violence in the same neighborhood she had an event at that day. And so we have to do more. Our residents not just suffering, but literally dying in the streets, especially our kids. And so this is one of many efforts, and I need your support to support this amendment. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
McDuffie wishes to be recognized, Mr. Chairman.
Councilmember McDuffie. Again, I apologize. This sounds a little redundant, but it'd be great if Mr. Trayon White could just outline again how he plans, how he breaks down the $1.78 million. I'm not sure if this was circulated, but I don't have it in front of me, and that'd be helpful. I support money going to fund the work that's happening. I wasn't sure. I heard 550, 300, and 280. I just wasn't able to write fast enough to that.
Okay, I got you. So $650 for violence interruption. I'm sorry. $550,000 for school-based mental health. $300,000 for community-based mental health response. $284 for mentoring grants to serve at-risk middle school youth. And that's going to be off of out-of-school time grant.
Okay.
Please present it, Mr. White.
All right. So this amendment was a slight rollback in the state tax. Took money from what is perceived to be extremely wealthy in the district. Gave money to violence mitigation, particularly impacting youth. That was for mentoring, wraparound services, mental health in the schools. And in detail, there was originally it went from 1 million to 5.6 million in 2016, and now we took it from a 400% increase to a 300% increase because of the justification of what the current president did to support those high income earners. This amendment will generate approximately 1.7 million in revenue, which will be used for wraparound services and combat youth violence, mentoring, and mental health outreach in both the schools and in the community. This is essentially what this bill does.
Mr. White, given what we just approved with regard to the last amendment from Mr. Allen, in which there's $1 million is going to the Office of Neighborhood Safety Engagement, including 500,000 for the violence interruption contracts. Would you be willing to consider that $650,000 going to school-based mental health? Or, since Mr. Allen's amendment was only $500,000, that you would leave 150 going to violence interruption and 500 going to school-based mental health?
No, sir, Chairman.
Well, that was clear, thank you. Is there discussion on the amendment? On the amendment, Mr. Cash, would you call the roll?
Bonds.
Yes.
Councilmember Bonds votes yes. Councilmember Che.
Yes.
Councilmember Che votes yes. Councilmember Gray. Councilmember Gray.
Yes.
Councilmember Gray votes yes. Councilmember Grosso.
Yes.
Councilmember Grosso votes yes. Councilmember McDuffie.
Yes.
Councilmember McDuffie votes yes. Chairman Mendelson.
Yes.
Chairman Mendelson votes yes. Councilmember Nadeau.
Yes.
Councilmember Nadeau votes yes. Councilmember Pinto.
Yeah.
Councilmember Pinto votes yes. Councilmember Silverman.
Yes.
Councilmember Silverman votes yes. Councilmember Todd.
Yes.
Councilmember Todd votes yes. Councilmember Robert White.
Yes.
Councilmember Robert White votes yes. Councilmember Tran White.
Yes.
Councilmember Tran White votes yes. Councilmember Allen.
Yes.
Councilmember Allen votes yes. Mr. Chairman, there are 13 yeses.
The amendment is approved unanimously. I believe that Councilmember White, you had no other amendments to the budget. Councilmember White?
Yes, I have 6 more. Hold on 1 second. I'm just joking. No more amendments, Chairman.
You could reconsider and Councilmember Nadeau, do you, I believe you would be next. Do you have your amendment?
Thank you, Chairman.